Hey you guys, so I recently got a request from someone to do a makeup look without fake eyelashes. At first I was scared, but then I was like, you know what? Let's do this. It's really not that big of a deal. I always wear fake eyelashes though, so I feel like I look really weird without them. Is that just me? Do you guys feel that way too? But I don't know, sometimes it's nice to just do like a more simple look. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. And someone else requested me to use a naked palette, which I don't think I've used on my channel in probably like 2 years. So I just decided to go for kind of a like natural bronzy look with this. And then as far as the skin goes, I went on the more dewy, glowy side today, which is also something that I like never do. So I'm going to be trying a bunch of new stuff today, doing things that I don't usually do. So if you guys want to see how to get this look, then just keep watching. Let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to start off with this Pixie, oh my god, this is so dirty, don't judge me. It was in my travel bag for a while because I just went like 2 different places and it got other makeup all over it. Anyways, this is the Pixie Glotion Day Dew. Basically it's a brightening lotion, so I put it on before my foundation and it smells like lavender, which I love, but if you're not into that, you will hate it. So I just pump out 1 pump on the back of my hand, get about that much. I really love putting this under my foundation. I liked it a lot more than the Becca backlight priming, whatever it was. So that's really saying something. It just really like gives my face a nice glow, and I also like to mix this in with my foundation, but the only thing that I have to say about it that I don't like as much is that it's kind of hard to blend out. So as soon as you put it on your skin, you have to kind of work really fast. But other than that, it's really nice. It feels really good and cooling on my skin, and it really just does brighten up my skin a lot. Okay, so I gave that a few minutes to settle into my skin, and now I'm going to move on to foundation. So if you're someone like me who doesn't really typically go for dewy or glowy foundation, and you don't have any luminous foundations, you only have like the matte or full coverage type foundations, something you can do is to mix a brightening luminous serum in with your foundation. So like I said, I'm going to mix a little bit of this that I just used on my face in with this Revlon Color Stay Combination Oily in 150 Buff. I know I have dry skin and I do use the oily just because it is more full coverage and matte, and that's what I prefer. And the Color Stay has a pump now. Have you guys seen this? Yes! My prayers have been answered. So I'm just going to go in with 1 pump on the back of my hand, and then I'm going to take this and I'm going to mix half a pump. And then I just mix it on the back of my hand with my finger. I'm just going to take this and dot this on my face. And I'm just using the fat end of my Beauty Blender to blend this out. If you're going for a more sheer coverage, then using something like a Beauty Blender will give you more natural results, obviously. It just kind of shears out the foundation and gives you more of a natural finish. I don't know why I did this. Natural. And you want to make sure that your Beauty Blender is damp, but don't have it like soaking wet. What I usually like to do is I'll run it under running water, and I'll squeeze it like 10 times just to make sure that it's really soaking up the water, and then I'll squeeze it into a washcloth or like a towel of some sort just to get the extra water out of it. You don't want it super wet, but you just want it damp enough to soak up a little bit of the excess foundation. So if I were to just apply this foundation on its own, my face would be pretty matte and you wouldn't be able to see like any glow off my face, but mixing it with this brightening lotion by Pixie and also putting this down first before I put on my foundation, really you can see like when I turn my head to the side, you can see like this like natural glow right here. Alright, so now I'm going to move on to concealing my under eye, and I've been really liking this Eve Pearl Fair Dual Salmon Concealer. I'm just going to take a mix of these two and just blend this out with my finger underneath my eye. And I'm just using this to kind of brighten up that under eye area and to cancel out the kind of dark bags that I had. I'm not going to use this by any means to do like the whole upside down triangle highlight thing, which I usually do. I'm just not feeling it today since I want it to be like more of a natural skin look. Then I'm just going to take a tiny bit of this on my pinky and I'm just going to dab this over those spots on my chin, but it doesn't cover as well as I wanted it to, so I'm just going to move along to my MAC Pro Longwear Concealer and just use a little bit of this. Then I'm just going to take the tip of my Beauty Blender and just really lightly bounce this off the spots to blend it in. Something you should avoid using too much of when you're going for like a dewy look is finishing powder, because that just really like mattifies the look and gets rid of any shine or gloss or dew or whatever it is. If you have drier skin, this probably won't be as big of a problem for you, but if you are someone with oily skin, just try to focus it mostly on the areas that are the most oily throughout the day. For me, lately, I've been getting a little bit oily in this area and a little bit right here, and then I always like to set my under eye concealer, so I'm just going to do that a little bit. But for this, I'm just going to be using my Shiro Cosmetics Fatality finishing powder. And I'm just going to take a tiny bit out, and usually I'll use my Beauty Blender for this, but I don't want to cake too much of it on, so I'm just going to use this Duo Fiber Contour Brush by Real Techniques. It just picks up a little bit less of the product, and just lightly dust this wherever I need it. So I'm just really, really lightly making sure I only put this in the area that I need it. I always like to put just a little bit right here on my laugh lines because I smile a lot and I make a lot of weird faces, and this just helps that to not crease. So you can still see this nice glow coming through on my cheekbones, and I'm going to amplify that even more with some cream highlighter. I'm going to take this So Susan Statement Skin highlighting crayon, that's a mouthful, and I'm just going to run this on my cheekbone like this, just in little patting motions, and then I'm just going to go over this with the Beauty Blender. This is just going to blend it out and kind of diffuse those harsh lines. You can even go in with just your finger like this and just tap it on, and then I'm just going to apply a little bit right here and on this other side of my forehead. And I'm also just going to take a little bit and dab it right in the center of the bridge of my nose and a little bit on the tip, and then I'm just going to blend it out once more. And then I'm just going to go a little bit on my Cupid's bow. So if you want, you can just leave it like this. It looks nice and glowy and luminous, but I like to set cream highlighters with a powdered highlighter. So I'm going to go in with my Mary Luminizer by The Balm, which is kind of a more natural looking highlight. And I'm just using a tiny little Furless Cosmetics brush for this. Just going to tap off the excess and lightly just dab this over the top. So I'm actually going to go into my contour kit by Anastasia Beverly Hills. I haven't worn this in such a long time just because I've found other things that work better for contouring for me. But as you can see, I loved it a lot back in the day, especially this color right here, which is Fawn. I'm not going to go for like a super harsh contour today. I want something that's going to look kind of like contour and bronzer at the same time, so it's just going to kind of warm up my skin tone. So for that, I think Fawn would be really nice. And I'm actually just going to take this on a big oval liquid foundation brush. I'm just going to take a tiny bit, and I'm just going to kind of apply this in the cheekbone area, but I'm also going to blend it up and into my cheek a little bit, just to cover more ground than I usually would with contouring. And the reason I'm using kind of like a duo fiber, kind of like a loosely packed brush like this is because it kind of helps dispense the color a little bit more and blend it out more as I go, and it really doesn't pack on the color too heavily. And then I'm just going to blend this up in circular motions towards my temple. Just going to bring this up to the hairline, the sides of my forehead, and I'm really making sure not to go over the highlight that we put right here, so I'm just focusing this really close to my hairline as I blend it up my temple. And then for blush, I'm just going to take a little bit of this guy from the Lunatic Labs contour book, and I'm just going to use the same brush just because it's right here and it's easy, and like I said, I don't want to pack on too much product, and with blush I feel like especially you can go overboard real fast. Okay, so I moved on to my brows, did those off camera because brows are boring. And I'm just going to take my MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot. This is what I always use to prime my lids. So I'm just going to apply this all over my lid and up to my brow bone. Okay, so for eyeshadow, I'm going to be using my original Urban Decay Naked Palette, which I haven't used in forever. It's kind of like a love-hate relationship for me. There's just some things that I like about it, some things I don't. So, without further ado, one of the things that I don't like about this palette is that there's no base shadow. The two lightest colors are shimmery, and I'm not about to put that all over my lid. So I'm going to have to go into a different palette. This is the Saucebox Etude palette. I'm just going to take this guy right here and apply that all over my lid. Naked, this shade right here is a really good transition shade, and just blend this into the crease. And I'm just going in back and forth motions like this, and then switching to circular motions to blend it out a little bit further. And then I'm just going to further blend this out with a bigger blending brush, and this is the Smith 232. Okay, so now that we have some definition in the crease, I'm just going to pack on the lid color, and for that, I think I'm going to use Smog. I don't know if I've ever used this color. It's kind of like a darkish brown, bronzy color, and I'm just going to start packing this onto the lid. Something that you should know about this palette if you haven't used it before is that these shimmery shades are really pretty, but they do have a lot of fallout, which is some beef that I have with the palette. As long as you just use light patting motions like this and you don't swipe them across your lid, you should be okay, and just especially remember to tap off any of the excess powder, like once you put the brush into the eyeshadow, go like that, and you'll get less fallout that way. I'm going to go in with a tapered blending brush. This is a Smith 235, and I'm going to dip this into Buck, which is like a medium warm brown. And I'm just going to blend this into the crease kind of right over Naked, but I'm just going to keep this more in this dead center of the crease and not blend it out as much. I'm also going to connect it down to my lash line just by kind of, get out of there, get out, go. Just by patting this and dragging it down onto my lid. And I'm just going to take the big blending brush one more time and just blend over the top of this. So I'm just going to go back in with that cream highlighting pen and I'm just going to lightly highlight the inner corners of my eyes. And then I'm going to go in with Virgin up here, which is the lightest shimmery shade in the palette. And I'm just going to go over that cream highlight. I'm also going to take this just by itself without the cream highlight, just right underneath the tail of my brow. And then I'm basically just going to use the same shades that we used up top on the lower lash line area. So I'm just going to go back in with Smog. I'm going to take this on the side of this little Smith 253 brush. And I'm just going to run this underneath the first half of my lower lash line. And then I'm going to take Buck, which is that medium brown matte shade, and I'm just going to continue this along the outer half of my lower lash line. And I'm going to connect it up to that upper lid as I go. And then it can kind of look a little crazy at first, so I'm going to go in with Naked and just blend everything out. So I'm going to skip the liner today because my eyelashes are already pretty sparse as it is, and I don't want them hiding behind any eyeliner. So I'm just going to use this lash curler to give my lashes a quick curl. And then I'm just going to move on to mascara, and my favorite at the moment, or actually it has been my favorite for probably the last like 8 months or so, it's this Pony White Night Mascara. It's got a volumizing brush and then a lengthening brush, and I'm just going to be using the volumizing brush first. And then once I'm done using the volumizing side of the brush, I'm just going to pop open the length part of the brush. I think it just squeezes the brush in a different way, so it makes it a little bit differently shaped as it comes out of the tube. So I like to tightline right after I do mascara because my lashes are nice and lifted and it's a lot easier to get up in that tightline area. And I'm using my Urban Decay Perversion pencil for this. And I'm just going to go in with the lengthening part of this mascara, and I'm just going to add a quick coat to my lower lashes. Then I'm just going to go in with my NYX Milk Jumbo Pencil. And I'm going to take this on a flat concealer brush and apply it to my waterline. And now I'm just going to move on to my lips, so I'm going to be taking my NYX Peekaboo Neutral Lip Liner, and I'm just going to lightly outline my lips and then fill them in. And then the lipstick I'm going to be wearing today is an oldie as well. I feel like I'm using a lot of older products today that I haven't used in a long time. This is the NARS Dolce Vita lipstick, and it's basically just like your lip color but better. It's got a little sheen to it. It's not matte. I know, has the world ended? I'm not using a matte lipstick. And then I'm just going to dab this over the lip liner. This is a really nice creamy moisturizing lip product. Alright guys, so that's it for the look. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's definitely pretty out of my comfort zone without the fake eyelashes, without the matte skin, matte lips. Who am I? But I just wanted to kind of challenge myself and do something different that I haven't done in a really long time. Anyways, I'll have everything that I used listed down in the description box as always. Let me know what you want to see from me next, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!